What's going on there, YouTube? Welcome back to another comic book video. Okay, so we're going to continue our coverage over the X-Men, but now we're going to dive into some more X-Men 1991 series, and we do pick up at issue number 27. Now, this is a one-shot story where you do have some members of the X-Men confronting Mr. Sinister and his new goal in life. Really not a new goal because he told us earlier that he was trying to help out the mutant race, but we are getting our first look at a new character at this point in time in Marvel Comics. And that would be the character known as Threnody. Now, when it comes to Threnody, this is her first full appearance in Marvel Comics. Now, the reason why I say her first full appearance is because she first appeared in a book called The Strike Files. Now, that book came out in like 1992 or 93. Now, that book did contain different information about different characters in X-Men comics, but there was a catch to it. You see, in that book alone, it also contained information about characters who had not appeared yet in Marvel Comics. So if you got that book, you got your first look at future characters to come down the road later on in X-Men Comics. And she was one of those characters. Now, when it comes to Threnody, she is a mutant, yes, but when it comes to her mutant ability, it's truly messed up, and let me explain. So when it comes to Threnody, she's able to feel the pain of people dying around her, but she's also able to absorb their energy as well as they are dying. And so once she's able to do that, she can then convert that energy into an explosive plasma field around her. And so it kind of makes her a very powerful kind of character. But we do see her right now kind of just living on the streets in LA. And we see her currently in pain. And the reason why? Because she's currently feeling somebody dying near her. And of course, they must have died near her because she had absorbed their energy. And so when you have two officers go in and check on her, they are killed in a matter of seconds because she had no choice but to go ahead and release that energy. And all you see is a small explosion around her in that area. But now we have to jump over to Rogue, Iceman, and also Beast. Now, our three heroes, they are currently at a hospital that was nearby the explosion that came out of Threnody. Now, for our heroes, they didn't hear nor see the explosion at all, so they had no idea what happened to that area that's nearby them. But we see our three heroes currently at the hospital, and the reason why? For a character called Infectia. Now, Infectia first appeared back in X Factor issue number 28. Now, she is the reason why we have Beast go back into his blue furball self again, because there was a period in time in X Factor comics where Beast did look normal, but thanks to Infectia, he was turned back into his good old blue furball self. Now, when it comes to Infectia, she has the ability to mutate other people around her. Now, the reason why you have our heroes at the hospital for her is because she had received the legacy virus. So now she's on the verge of dying. Now, here's the thing, because with her death, it kind of leads into a big conversation between Beast and Rogue. And what I mean by that statement is that for Rogue, she's very upset about the fact that Infectia could die from the virus. Really, any mutant who gets the virus is going to die. And so if Rogue gets the virus, then most likely she will die. And for Rogue, she hates the idea of dying because she did not have the chance to have a normal life because of her mutant ability, because she's not allowed to touch other people. Now for Beast, this virus is also kind of making him very upset as well. Because for Beast, he's a scientist, and he feels like by now he should have been able to find a cure for the virus. But unfortunately, he can't find a cure for the virus at all. But before you have our heroes being able to continue on with their conversation, they are then confronted by a character known as Dr. Milbury. Now, Dr. Milbury is supposed to be the doctor for Infectia, but that's a huge lie right there. And you'll see here in a moment. But for Dr. Milbury, he kind of tells the X-Men that he does not really care that Infectia is a mutant, because no matter what, she's still his patient. And so his goal right now is to hopefully find a way to save her life. Now, we also learned that for Infectia, the reason why she came over to LA is because for a scientist called Gordon Lafferts. Now, for Gordon Lafferts, he was a scientist trying to find a way to stop the virus, but also he was a mutant. Matter of fact, we kind of find out he was the first mutant to die from the legacy virus. But either way, she was kind of hoping that Gordon or his lab could possibly help her. Now, for Dr. Milbury, he also tells us that for Infectia, the only reason why she's still alive right now because of her mutant ability is actually fighting against the legacy virus. Since her mutant ability is really more the idea of being able to mutate other people, she's also kind of mutating the virus around her or herself as a way to fight against the virus. But here comes the big problem though. Once her powers really does fail and you have her powers go haywire thanks to the legacy virus, there's a huge possibility that everybody in the actual hospital could be infected by her powers in some kind of way. But either way, you do have Dr. Milbury take a blood sample of Infectia and he leaves the room. Now you have the X-Men try their best to comfort Infectia as she is slowly dying off. But then a nurse walks into the room and asking for a blood sample. Now, like I said just a moment ago, Dr. Milbury just took a sample of Infectia's blood. Come to find out, that was not a real doctor at all. That was Mr. Sinister pretending to be a doctor so that he'll be able to sneak into the hospital to get a sample of Infectia's blood. And homeboy dipped out just like that. But now we had to sit down and briefly talk about the character known as Psylocke. Now, the only reason why I'm doing this because we may have some new fans who are joining us in our coverage over the X-Men. Now, real quick, when it comes to Betsy Braddock, she first appeared on the X-Men in the middle of the Mutant Massacre, but then joined the X-Men after that crossover. Now, when it came to Betsy Braddock, at first, she was just another team member. Now, she is a British woman, or she was a British woman. But either way, when it came to Betsy Braddock, at the tail end of her run on the X-Men at first, she became the leader of the team. Now, when it came to her being the leader, she had decided to use the Siege Perilous as a way to protect the X-Men from the Reavers. Now, when it comes to the Siege Perilous, it has the ability to give you a new life somewhere else in the world. But there is a catch to it because you may or may not remember anything from your past life. And so when it came to Betsy Braddock, she had just disappeared and we didn't see her for a short period of time. But then in the middle of Acts of Vengeance, she had reappeared, but as a Japanese woman, no longer as a British woman. Now, we did learn later on that it was thanks to the hand for the reason why she was now in the body of a Japanese woman. But this is Marvel Comics, so it got to make things even more complicated because you did have the return of the British version of Betsy Braddock. But the question was right now, who's the real Betsy? The one in the body of a Japanese woman or the one in the body of the British woman? We come to find out both are correct, and let me explain why. You see, there was another lady out there known as Kawanin. Now, when it came to Kawanin, when she had first reappeared in X-Men comics, we were kind of left to believe that maybe, just maybe, the two ladies had their mind to switch into each other's bodies. But like I said, this is Marvel Comics. We got to make things more complicated. So what actually happened was in both of the bodies is both of the minds of both of the ladies. So for example, in the body of the Japanese woman, she has half the mind of Betsy Braddock and half the mind of Kawanin. And the same thing goes for the British body of Betsy Braddock as well. It made things so crazy and wild in the 1990s for Betsy Braddock. Now, in our last video for the X-Men, we had learned that Kawanin is also dying from the legacy virus. So we're kind of left to believe that very soon this character is going to die by the hands of the legacy virus. But now we have to transition back over to Rogue, Beast, and also Iceman. Now you have our heroes trying their best to hunt down Sinister to kind of figure out what in the world is he trying to do when it comes to the blood sample of Infectia. Now they do remember him telling them about the scientist known as Lafferts, the first person to get the legacy virus and die by the legacy virus, the first mutant to die from the legacy virus. Either way, you have our heroes head over to his lab. Now, they do realize the lab's being used by a bunch of homeless people, including Threnody as well. Now, for Rogue, she does run into Threnody, and she begins to talk about the idea of feeling the pain of different people around her, people who are most likely being affected by the legacy virus. She also said that she was trying her best to protect this lab for the guy who died from the virus. Of course, talking about Lafferts. But then she runs off. Now, for Rogue, she kind of felt weird when it came to Threnody because she was kind of talking weird, but she felt like there's more to her story. So you have Rogue go ahead and leave to find her, while you have Iceman and Beast behind to kind of go through all the different files that were left behind by Lafferts. Now, for Threnody, she does run into Sinister. Now, this is Sinister basically saying, hey, listen, I can help you if you allow me to help you out, but you must come with me to at least let me help you. Now, here's the thing. You have Rogue being able to catch up to Threnody, and so you have Rogue trying her best to protect Threnody from Sinister. But here comes the next big problem. You see, for Threnody, her powers are about to activate once again. And so you have Threnody just containing more and more energy of people who died in the area. And so, of course, she has to release all that energy as a explosive field around her. And so you have her being able to hit both Rogue and also Sinister. Now, you do have Beast and Iceman being able to catch up to Rogue and also to Sinister as well. Now, everyone is okay, including Threnody as well. Now, this kind of leads into a conversation I kind of want to have when it comes to the character of Beast. And let me explain. So, when it comes to Beast, in X-Force comics, like down the road in the Krakoa era of X-Men comics, there were a lot of people who were very upset about the idea of how Beast was acting. They were kind of like, there's no way Beast would be able to cross all those different lines. But for me, I always felt like Beast was always just one step away from crossing lines that he thought himself would never actually cross. And the reason why I'm saying that, because in this book right here, you have Sinister say, here is the reason why I want to use Threnody for when it comes for me trying to find a cure for the legacy virus. Because with her mutant ability for Sinister, he's then able to kind of ease the pain for mutants who are dying from the legacy virus, which then means he'll be able to kind of continue his work on those people to hopefully find a cure for the legacy virus. But at the same time, he can turn her into a bloodhound to find other mutants out there who are dying from the legacy virus. Because for Threnody, like I said earlier, she can absorb the energy of people who are dying around her. And right now you have a lot of mutants who are dying from the legacy virus. So why not try to use her as a bloodhound to find other mutants out there so that he could use them as guinea pigs to hopefully find a cure for the legacy virus. Now, for Rogue and also Iceman, they hate the idea of him using her like that. But for Beast, it's kind of like, no, he's right. Like, I hate his idea, but he's right. We need her to be that bloodhound for him to use as a way to find a cure for the legacy virus. Because for Beast, unfortunately, he cannot find a cure for the virus right now. Not Charles Xavier, not Moira Taggart. It all comes down to Beast and also Sinister at the moment. And so it's kind of like, is it wrong for him to allow Sinister to take Threnody and use her as a bloodhound as a way to find a cure for the virus? It's Beast right now crossing that line. And he tells Iceman and he also tells Rogue, stand down. We are going to let him take her away, and maybe, just maybe, he'll be able to find a cure for that virus. Now, moving on from the idea of bees crossing that line, we then jump forward to the very end of the book where you then have Beast right now with Infectia. Now, she's dying, like she's on the verge of death, but she had asked Beast earlier, I did not say anything about it, but she asked Beast earlier to kind of take her out of the hospital so that she'll be able to see the sunset one more time, and so, or the sunrise, sorry. And so you have Beast take Infectia to a cave where she'll be able to see the perfect view of the sunrise. And then she dies in his arms. And it's kind of like, man, that's wild. That's pretty crazy right there. And the book kind of ends on that note right there. But like I said, for me personally, there have been multiple times where Beast would have crossed that line or had crossed that line when it came to reaching a certain goal. But either way, this is where we're going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, see y'all next time. Later.